Scorpio, welcome to 2025, Scorpio sun, moon, and rising sign. This is your forecast. We're talking about four highlights you need to know because I see big changes in romance, fertility, yes, pregnancy, things to do with relationship shifts, but also prosperity and maybe in unexpected ways. And finally, what are those career changes you're up to? There's something important changing in your career path. Let's talk about what this means, what this is about, using the four things you need to know technique. Now, just saying that, today's guidance is navigational tools using astrology to help you time your best life. That said, remember that this is general bell curve astrology and your natal chart reading would be highly accurate. This is going to be generally accurate. Number two, if you're new to astrology and you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and whole sign house systems. One thing I want to say is that if you want to get the longer version of this kind of content, there's a 2-hour video. It's parsed into quarters of the year that I've done, and I recorded that for you. I've written a PDF guidebook on the content of your sign for the year, individual to your sign. You can download the audio, you can download the video, and you can also access the hidden video of these 2-hour content in my sale below. And that's because this content is my fundraiser. And if you want to get that at the Ho Santa Claus New Year price, because you missed the pre-sale price, then go ahead and grab it down below. It helps the channel grow. And so please contribute to my time stampers, my video editors, my ring lights, and all the things I need. I need a new MacBook because this one's old. This is a MacBook Air. I need a better version, and this one's slowing down. So thank you, because it's old. Thank you for your help. And it's just my fundraiser, and you get something for it. All right, Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Let's break it down here. I'm going to show you the chart. There's some rare things happening. Rare, rare, rare. Unusual. Last seen in 77 is going to make a change in your career, for example. So let's go down as best we can and get slightly into the depths of the astrology by looking at the sky. This is a picture of the heavens. Scorpio is a sign here on the eastern horizon. If you're listening for your rising sign, you're listening for your avatar in the matrix, the game character that you play. If you're listening for your sun sign, it's your essential eternal nature, the game player, not the avatar. But it can be like your career, right? Why are you incarnated? So your sun can be your purpose, your career. Your moon can be your body, your home, your mind, how you think about things. Your rising sign is most delineating the circumstances, all of the other houses, from your home to your significant love to your spirituality. So when you listen for your rising sign, it's quite accurate, but so is the sun sign. Depending if you're living more from your soul, sometimes the sun sign is more accurate, or your eternal nature. All right, so number one, the thing I wanted to point out for you, and I can't not take my eyes off, is Pluto in your fourth house. And this is an indicator of great wealth over the course of the next 2 decades. So keep in mind that you've got this very big first in a lifetime, longer term transit that lasts 20 years. And I have to bring that up because with Pluto in your fourth house, as the year begins, you'll notice that Jupiter is up in your house of chunky money. This is your inheritances, your spousal support, alimony, money from the government, Social Security. It could be loans and banks and mortgages and investment money, royalty income, ad income, chunks of money that come like a commission, a severance package. It's not your daily income. It's not your hourly wage. It's not your salary. This unearned other people's money that you share with other people with. Think about that. A book publishing company shares the money. They give you a smidgen of the money. So in essence, this is expanding. Jupiter is here, but Jupiter is retrograde at the beginning of the year. But he started, this is number one, unexpected wealth from where? That's what we're going. Number one, through Jupiter, Pluto. Well, at the beginning of the year, he's retrograde, but February 4th, he goes direct. He's been retrograding since October 9th. He entered your 8th house of chunky money way the heck back, okay, in the third week of May. Maybe you thought you were going to get a mortgage, pay down a credit card, buy a property, sell a property. Maybe you thought you were going to get that inheritance. Maybe. Jupiter went forward, and then on October the 9th, turned backward. Turning backward means that he has to reassess things and also deepen the bounty and take some time out to figure out the inner story, not the outer. So when it comes to that kind of financial wellness, Jupiter comes back online February the 4th through to June the 9th. Well, at the same time, Pluto is in your fourth house in a whole sign trine. That is a strong indicator of changes in your financial life and your home life. But in particular, most possible and maybe most likely is some kind of money from a sale of a property, an inheritance from a family member, someone you grew up with, or up your family line, or some kind of golden opportunity with land, property, and real estate that brings riches and wealth into your life. Now, I know that sounds really like a stretch. A lot of people are like, I just barely pay my rent. I get it. But Jupiter brings lucky breaks. And so I don't know what this lucky break is in the house. It could be a massive tax rebate. It could be anything. You don't have to have someone in your family system die. They may just give you some money. Maybe they make a living trust. Maybe they want to pass the wealth on before they pass away. Whatever it is, some good money stories, and home and real estate and land and property stories as well. And that's going to be something you feel early in the year, February the 4th through the 9th of June. Okay. And Pluto is complicit here. Number 2, drum roll. Boom, 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 boom. Let's talk Mars. Mars is a big deal because of what we call angularity. Mars will be, and he's the Lord of your sign. First of all, Mars is in a kind of a pattern that we last saw in our heavens in the fall of 1977 into the summer of 1978. And you must therefore compare your life, if you were alive or in an adult state, to events and things that were going on at that time. Now, Mars is moving through this part of your sky in the early new year. But when we first start out at the very beginning of the story, Mars will be here. He will be in early Leo, and he will be opposite Pluto, and he's out of bounds. Let's discuss this. This requires you to time travel. So be patient. Go back in your imagination for big event number 2, Mars. Go back in your head. Imagine what was going on in your career and professional life up here from December the 6th, from November the 4th, right up here, till January the 6th. Now, let's pause for a second, because on December the 6th, he retrograded in your 10th house. So it's sort of like this. November the 4th to December 6th, you're going forward on career, reputation, social standing, actions, and decisions. You're going for it. You're motivated. You know what you want. You're going forward. You're in a direction. Then December 6th, Mars changes his mind and pulls back and says, whoa, slow down. Let's rethink this. So you might think about what things were happening November and December, because on January 6th, he goes retrograde. But as the first week of January, the end of December unfolds, he becomes very complicit here, or very intensely activated in a Pluto opposition that's exact on January the 3rd. So watch for a massive blowout with a father figure, a boss, an authority figure, and it may be also with a parent. And it could be your mom too, because of Pluto in the 4th house. But if not that, Mars is cutting and severing opposite Pluto. And it can be a father figure coming into a place of getting ready to transition. And therefore, that may be something out of your control. But otherwise, if it's in your control, there is a kind of clash between your domestic private life, those people you live with, what you're doing in your home, and something going on in the outer world of your career, your reputation, your social standing. And in that regard, it's just a very gnarly sky on January 3rd, and you experience the same intensity on April 27th. But these two events may connect. So I'll tell you a crazy story, I'm making this shit up. But, Grandpa Joe passes away, all of a sudden, Mars is usually like here today, gone tomorrow, in the first week of January. And in the last week of September, the same energy comes up, and then there's a battle for the inheritance with a family member, just making stuff up. But there's going to be maybe 2 ways maybe you want to blow up and quit your job on January 3rd. And then in April, end of April, you got a new one. There's going to be some bookend or some way of connecting these two storylines of Mars in the top of your sky opposite Pluto. Now, Mars retrograde opposite Pluto means that's why it comes back again in April, right? You have to do it again. So whatever happens here in the first week of January can definitely replay in April and the last week of April for the final answer kind of thing. Is that your final answer? You go, yeah, that's my final answer. And ultimately, Mars will come back into Leo, your 10th house of career, for 2 whole months. Little longer than usual, because he's coming off of retrogradation. He's still going more slowly. And so you're going to look at this energy and you're going to say, okay, April the 18th to June the 17th, Mars is going through my career and reputation space. Now I am directional, motivated, making decisions and taking actions with authority, with courage, bravery, daring, passion, but also the correct direction. It took all of that path of a false start of some kind, a false shift of some kind, a false direction in your career and reputation space of some kind that happened November the 4th to December the 6th. And now you're going to get the right direction, the right actions, and the right situations happening for you. Now, if you wanted to quit your job earlier, let's say November, December, you could still quit your job, but now you're doing it mid-April to mid-June, and you've got all your ducks in a row, and you've figured everything out. By the way, it's kind of interesting that Mars spends 4 months in your 9th house. He was here all of September, October, and then he's back there, out of bounds and kind of radical and dispossessed of anyone controlling him. He's like, I'm on my own, I'm flying free. And your 9th house, he's in this 9th house for a long time. And that's an indicator that, basically January 6th to mid-April, you've got a lot going on in the 9th house. And this can involve visas, passports, foreign lands, and travel, things to do with your spiritual faith, but more importantly, being in alignment with your purpose. And I think that's what you needed. I think he has to go back to your 9th house and say, does this work and career path feel meaningful? For gosh sakes, a lot of you Scorpios are dealing with that chironic wound in the workhouse. So he's asking for, a reassessment of your meaning quality, your purpose, your dharma when it comes to work and career matters. And then he goes in mid-April to mid-June, and you're ready for those decisions to be true and to be bold and to be actionable. Number 3, big item number 3, drum roll please. Either you're falling madly in love, or you're having a baby, or you're starting an entrepreneurial business, or you're having an success as an artist that's going to blow you out of the water, that's destined. But what I'm going to talk about is a very rare, not seen since 1877 conjunction of Saturn with the North Node of Fate. This is going to happen the last week of April. Just the last week of April is good enough. Think about the whole last week of April. It's going to be at 26 degrees of Pisces. Some of you Scorpios might feel it stronger if you're 20 to 29 Scorpio, but you're all going to feel it. And this is a house of conception. Venus is the goddess of sperm and ovum. Saturn is chronicator, time, destiny, fated, karmic, along with the North Node. Possibly, if you are of childbearing age as a woman, or if your partner is, then you could be conceiving a child, a destined, fated conception. And that, again, is yours to take or lose, and leave it or take it. If you want to try to have a baby, I say the last week of April is pretty positive. And with Jupiter eventually heading into the 9th house of labor and childbirth on June the 9th through to June of 2026, this could also look like a yes for that. Also grandchildren. And so maybe this conception is a child conceiving a child, and you will be having grandchildren percolating as a Scorpio off of this narrative sometime between April of 25 and June of 2026. But it is a blessing for artists. Are you a singer, a poet, a writer, a dancer, an actress, an actor? Are you anything in the arts? Venus is exalted here. This is the house of the muse. North Node expands what it touches, which is Venus's power here. Saturn can be a malefic, but with Venus's bonification, it feels too good for that. It feels like instead of just being pure hardship on a personal level, it has an exalted a spark of prosperity, an exalted spark of luck. When this happens, Jupiter is still in your 8th house. It could be winning the lottery. This is a rare occasion, which the last week of April, you could win some money. But also you could find, if you're single, a beautiful karmic destined love story that will last. Saturn, Venus is enduring love, lasting love, destined love, fated karmic love combinations. Neptune gives it a little soulmate vibe. He's not there for the conjunction, but he will go back into that part of your chart as a new relationship could deepen. Ultimately, with this Venus-Saturn energy here, if you want to take on an entrepreneurial direction, you might already be an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to become that, or maybe you already are, but this would allow for success as an entrepreneur. So consider that anything to do with entrepreneurship gets a glow up as well, and gives you the capability to become a full-blown self-starter, company owner, your own business, that kind of thing. If you're an artist too. One last thing, Uranus is still up here with these crazy ass wealth star algol. And if you put something into the marketplace, especially on social media, you could have a viral hit, a major blow up, a massive splash of celebrity or fame or success in some creative endeavor that goes into the online marketplace. Uranus rules technology. This is the public. This is what's going on over here. Well, it's always going to change, but we have stuff in the third house. So as a Mars ruled being, in January of 2026, Mars got 15 degrees away from the sun. January of 2024, he got 15 degrees away from the sun into his apparent heliacal rise or phasis. And that indicates a time in which the story means in the next 2 years, you have great third house success. So January 24 to 26, what do you call it? An elevation, a exaltation of success in third house matters, online and social media stuff, writing and traveling, communicating, is good. So it ties in with what can be an extraordinary lucky break and some success. Venus is in her joy in the fifth house, and it amplifies your romance, your prosperity, your money luck, your business entrepreneurially, your creativity, your conception factor for babies, and your romantic life, goes really into like a nice swing in the last week of April, but it's bigger than the last week of April because the North Node conjoining with Saturn is a synodic cycle. And in this particular sign, it has not happened since 1877. So it's a once in a lifetime, first in a lifetime expansion of some kind of destined change with a beautiful Venus in her joy amplifying it here. Let me know what happens. And drum roll, please. The fourth thing that you need to pay attention to, and the last thing you need to pay attention to. So it's really hard to cherry pick, right? Because in that longer video I have, the 2-hour video, I can really focus on what I think is indeed the most important. It's like easier to do. But I'm going to go for you, and I'm going to talk about something that has to do with your career and work story. And that is this energy of the last eclipse in Aries. And that last eclipse in Aries rolls out for a year. So although it happens here because Mars is the ruler of your sign, that's why we're focused here. This eclipse will be at like 9-10 degrees of Aries. It'll be on the March 29th date. It's the last eclipse of 3, one in April of 2023, one in April of 2024, one on March 29th of 2025, trying to heal a chironic wound around work and service, and maybe health as well. Indicates to me that you've been trying for 3 eclipses, this will be your third, to figure out how to make changes in your career and workspace that align with your deeper talents and gifts and your purpose. Chiron is the key to purpose. And so you might have had work, you might have been doing fine, but you might have been feeling there's just something really not right here. I'm not in my right groove. This is not my thing. Or you could have had a persistent health challenge you've been trying to heal since 2019, a work challenge, a work professional non-belonging to your crew at work, not feeling like you fit in with the colleague co-worker space, not feeling like you're in tune with your true calling. And this wound that began in 2019 and completes in 2027 is being given a jumpstart out of woundedness here, and in a way that you haven't experienced before. You see, the total solar eclipse in 2024 was all embedded within the chironic space. It even was on the chironic wound. It's like a North Node in Aries, right? You might have got more recognition at work, a greater amount of responsibility, some kind of jump start there. But this eclipse is activating your 5th house. That's because the node of fate will be there. And for you people who want to work in a place of creativity, enthusiasm, inspiration, and joy, you want your work to be inspiring you. You want your work to have all of the features of the house of the muse. This is going to be the eclipse that changes your job or your work path so that you come into contact with the inspiration and the enjoyment and the excitement you've been looking for. Solar eclipses make destined changes, often completions, but sometimes new beginnings. Now, there was a weird other one. You could be staying at home as a parent, and that is going to be the most deeply satisfying thing you've ever done. This eclipse will give you an activation of the house of children in relationship to the house of work. And maybe finding yourself taking maternity leave or a daddy maternity leave is going to allow for this settling in to the muse, to what inspires you, what brings you joy, what inspires, fills you, inspirited with spirit, and re-enlivens your desire to work in alignment with your truest gifts and talents and purpose. And the fifth house is your natural talents. It's not just the stuff you learn how to do because you've been trained or educated. It's your natural gifts that come from your family of origin, from being born into your family. It's your heritage talents. It's your natural gifts. And these are going to be amplified in relationship to the word work and career. And this eclipse that happens on March the 29th unfolds over 1 year. So be patient. It's not something that happens on the day of the eclipse. The other thing is you could get a new pet that you absolutely love, a baby pet, a kitten or a doggy. This eclipse could do the same thing for you, okay? Or an auspicious, powerful new opportunity to live in a place that you rent or to rent out a new property. But everything is around the joy factor, how you could feel this sense of enlivenment, wonder, awe, innocence, enjoyment, and the good side of life, right? The part that feels like we're a little kid in a playground again, that's going to bring that back to your work life, to where you live, to having a baby pet, a kitten or a dog or a hamster, whatever floats your boat. All right, Scorpio, that's what I've got for you. I hope that's useful. Don't forget, check my description box below for everything about me. Substack, my Pluto Chronicles, aliens, AI, UFOs, whatever the hell is going to happen for the next 20 years as Pluto goes through Aquarius, and or my Zoom meetings, 3 a month on my Patreon community where I teach classes and talk to you about stuff. You get to see me in smaller group settings there, or even check me out on my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. You get sales and discounts and all kinds of contests that I bring to you. And you also get early access to know when I'm opening up new readings. I know when I open up readings in 2 hours, all my spots sell out. I'm no longer seeing clients, 5 or 6 days a week anymore. So when I open spots, there are very, very few of them left. So if you want to get in, you got to be in one of my contact points. You will, generally you won't get in if you don't know that spots are opening. So find me on other platforms besides this. All right. Thanks, Scorpio. Ciao, ciao.